Hey guys, it's Dana and it's time to talk about money. And in this video, I wanted to talk about AI, the future of the job market, and also investing. So let's get to it. Okay. I have been listening and thinking a ton about AI. And I work in corporate finance, and in the organization that I work for within the past year, we did um, minimize or they did a bit massive reduction. So several accountants that I work with have moved on to leave the organization, and we are utilizing AI tools to book journal entries, also with annual performance appraisals. Management is using AI to write up reviews. I see it in real time. It is absolutely happening where AI is replacing certain tasks that used to be done by humans. And this is somewhat alarming, and rightly so. Robo taxis are coming. A large percentage of the population around the globe make their living on driving vehicles. And so things are changing. But I also feel as if there is certainly room for growth, meaning that, let's say, I don't know what the time frame is. Let's say in 5 to 10 years, AI has replaced quite a bit of jobs, and let's say we've got humanoid robots walking around doing things. It's frightening to think of, and also exciting. I think about people who have disabilities, people who are caretaking others, even people in their 20s who are spending their time. They have to stay home and take care of a parent who is disabled or has some kind of medical issue going on, and they could really make use of the new tools that are coming on the market, meaning that it might help them tremendously improve their quality of life. And also, I see this whole AI boom. There's going to be other jobs created, jobs that we can't even think of. I think about when I first started doing YouTube many years ago, 2011, I think it was. And it was weird, very weird. Very few people were sitting and talking to a camera and posting videos on YouTube. I didn't tell anybody. I still don't tell anybody in my personal life. But it's definitely much more widespread. It's more accepted. I hear people talking about it, like even people in high school, like if you look it up, being a YouTuber or a content creator is now a regular job, right? People make a full-time living off of it. And so it's something but we couldn't have imagined that, not so long ago. That was certainly not a career. People would have laughed at you. So my point is, I do think that there's going to be jobs and whole careers that we can't even fathom, right? Perhaps even 15 years from now, there's going to be a need for other things. Speaking of AI and the future, if you are not investing something, then you've got to get on it, is what I would say. Okay, so if you have $5, if you have ever bought a lottery ticket, if you've ever been like, I'm going to go buy a lottery ticket, then why are you not buying some fractional percentage of Bitcoin or of some stock or of some ETF? It is really not hard. It's very accessible to everybody at this point. I have an 18-year-old, and so on her 18th birthday, I did say, hey, you're 18 now. Now you can have a Robinhood account. You can open it and have it in your name. You need to start investing and learn. You need to buy stocks, buy ETFs, buy some Bitcoin. I don't want her to become a crazy day trader, but I said, we're not going to sell. We're just going to buy and hold. If you are intimidated, the Robinhood app, which I am not, I have no affiliation with them, not a sponsored video, but it is very easy at this point to go, if you have a phone, to go onto your phone. If you've got a debit card, you can link your debit card in the app and just buy something for $5. Get yourself started. And that way you can get in the game. Because if you are feeling stressed and nervous about the future and your career and AI and where the world is going, I get it, right? I totally understand. But what I would say is then, if you're like, oh, AI might take over, then maybe you need to have a piece of it, of ownership of that AI. And you're going to be able to do that in the market if you invest. So if you begin with just $5, even $1 on the Robinhood app, you can buy something for $1. If you did $1 a week, that's it. At least you looked at it. It would help you to get a comfort level with it and to learn it. You can see the stock going up and you can see it going down. It's either going to be green or it's going to be red. And if it's red, you should be buying. You want to be buying because that means the stock is on sale. It's a lower price. So you want to be buying and just hold it. Leave it there, right? You don't want to be selling it. Just leave it. Even if you're like, oh my God, it keeps going down, down, down. Especially if you first start out and you're investing a small amount, it shouldn't stress you out. You shouldn't be caring if it's going down or going up. You're trying to do this to practice, to learn, to flex that muscle of investing. Because what we all want to be working towards, if you're watching my channel, is we all are trying to move from being an earner to an owner. And there's a lot of talk about opening small businesses and how like the vast majority of millionaires or people who make their money own businesses. And that's true, but also kind of difficult for a lot of people to get into and scary. And maybe you're doing research, thinking about it, but you don't know what business to buy, and it's risky. You could lose a lot of your money. Same thing with real estate investing. People are like, oh, you want to generate passive income by buying rental properties. But those rental properties, it's hard, like to get into it. And again, risky, and it's not passive, takes a lot of work to do research on which property to buy. And then once you buy it, you got to make sure it's fixed up and cleaned up, and then you got to rent it out, and then you got to deal with the renters, and then you got to make sure, they're going to, maybe have some complaints. You got to fix things. They might not pay their rent. And it's a lot of work for the average person. So to become an owner versus an earner, all you have to do is buy $5 of stock, even if it's, something very simple, that something you want to invest in the top 500 S&P, you can just do VOO. That's the ticker for that. I mean, you can do something that's very safe, stable, but I would just say get into it. $5, right? Start doing some research on which stocks you want to buy, which ETFs interest you. You want to be in the game is what I'm trying to say. And I get it being nervous, but right now, at this time period, it is so easy and accessible for anyone. If you have a phone, you can do it. You don't need to have some kind of broker. You don't need to have an investment advisor. You could go in and you can just do $1 or $5 a week and just sort of look at it and play with it and think about it and do some research into what companies you use, right? We eat a lot of Hershey bars. We live in Pennsylvania and we really like Hershey. We go to Hershey Park. It's like a big deal for us. And so I invest in Hershey. And Hershey is a dividend stock. So, but you need to find what works for you, what you have a comfort level with, which company do you want to become an owner of and you feel strongly about, right? Or, you watch YouTube, you can start watching people, you can watch Kathy Woods talk about ARK. That's an ETF where they invest in a whole bunch of, different technologies that are innovative, maybe like AI and Archer, and you want to be involved in that maybe. But you got to feel right about it. It's got to be right for you and be something that you feel like you want to follow and stand behind and track and be a part of over the next several years, not the next hour. You don't want to buy it and sell it an hour later, right? That's not going to work. You don't want to get all hyped up and stressed out because you are not going to be able to beat the people who are those young kids or people who are tracking it all day long in their basements, sitting there watching it minute by minute go up and down, and they're buying and selling and trying to time it. That's probably going to be hard for most people who watch my videos, right? We're working our jobs during the day. We're busy. We've got kids. We've got things going on. So you want to invest, like I said, in companies that have been around for a while, have a track record, things that you feel comfortable in, but just get it started with a very minimal amount of money, just $1, $5, and then, continue to look at it, try to consistently do it. You can transfer money over with your debit card. You can link your bank account if you want. But I mean, it's something that that I'm teaching my 18-year-old daughter to do, and I will with the other kids as well, just to flex that muscle and get used to it so that way you can be working your day job and then trying to build your skill level to prepare for if you have to switch careers in this new AI world, but you also will feel as if you have a piece of the pie. You're invested in what's going to be going on in the world. Okay, so let's end with this analogy. I have always talked about planting seeds. I love to plant trees and things in the yard. So it's the same thing, like we bought a new house a couple years ago and I went out and planted these little tiny little trees. And now a couple years later, some of them are 6 feet tall. But you have to have a sense of delayed gratification with your garden, with your yard work. You're planting these things and you're planting them for the future, for future you. And so it's the same thing when you're investing or getting out of debt. You want to try to get rid of your debts so that way all the income you do make or all the dividends you receive from those stocks you've invested in, all that money you can either reinvest or you can do what you want to do with it. You don't have to be giving it away. So we want to try to avoid debt, and we're planting seeds for our future, and so we can watch it grow. So same thing when you're investing. That's what we're doing. We're planting little seeds and or little plants, little trees, and we're going to try to watch them to grow, to get bigger. And, maybe they had a rough winter and they had some dieback, things aren't going great in the market, but almost if you look at the market, over time, it's mostly increasing due to inflation and other factors, right? So you want to try to get in there so you can watch your tree grow over the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years, okay? And it's powerful, that compound interest. And most people just don't do it. Just never plant that seed. And like I said, just get going with just $5. That's my challenge to you, is to try to invest just $5. And there's other apps. I just use Robinhood. That's what I personally use, is that app. Like I said, not a sponsored video. I'm not getting any commission I'm not even an affiliate. I probably should be, but I'm not. And so I'm just saying, just give it a try, get it going. What are you going to lose? $5. Same amount of money you would have lost if you bought a lottery ticket. And that way you can learn and watch it, and you can feel like you are an owner. You can be an owner, not just an earner. All right, so thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any comments, recommendations, questions, you can leave them down below in the comments. Almost all of you guys, all my subscribers, are amazing at helping each other out. And I appreciate you being here, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Okay.